Hello, it's Kelly here at Hedgewich Herbarium, and tonight I'm sitting in my bedroom. I'm here to escape from the cats. They're just driving me insane. We've got some kittens we're trying to find good homes for, and they are just running amok in my office, and their mum is being a little pain in the butt too. But it's my birthday today, and so, yeah, that's about that. But I've had a good day. My husband came and took me for lunch and everything. But what I wanted to do in this video was just to talk about magic, and which is really funny for me, who for a long, long time, for years and years and years, has been a very proud atheist, but this year has been a real mix up for me. At the start of the year, I went and did a retreat where I did a lot of trauma processing, and step by step, as the months have gone by, I've worked through it. Where I worked through the rage that was the result of the uh, the retreat, where I was just like a broken vessel, let everything out, wrote everything out. And the first phase was going through the rage for the first couple of months, trying not to direct it to places where it wasn't deserved, um, and learning how to control that. Then what broke that fever, if you will, was opening up my heart to compassion, forgiveness, to my mother for uh, what we all went through when we were kids. But that forgiveness was also for myself, and that flowed on to compassion for others, and so on. Every step, every phase out of it, um, you could say was magic. But I also opened myself up to the possibility of different uh, levels and things about spirituality, and realized that the magic often comes from within, not so much from without, but also linking into source, if you will, if that's what you want to call it. Um, and realizing, especially just recently, last month or so, coming to the conclusion, well, not that it's actually concluded, because I think it's always evolving, but coming to the conclusion, I suppose you could say, or the understanding that what you put out comes back to you. Now, I've always known that. It's really funny with spiritual concepts. You can understand them in theory, but when you see it working in your life, that's when you have those aha moments and realize that you're part of the magic, the problem, the everything. Whatever goes on, you can always circle back to look at yourself and understand where you fit in and where others fit in, and so on. But it's been really weird. Like, my dreams have been coming back really strongly, and really strange dreams that I can understand as soon as I wake up, and others I've got to do a bit of digging and research in to understand. But the concept that as above, so below, as a witch, I've always understood that too. But um, for me, magic has always been really not necessarily a supernatural thing, supernatural meaning above the natural world. But some people say magic is the bloodstream of the universe, or that magic, a lot of us expect a magical thing to be something that's like a miracle that happens like in the movies, where you do a spell, you carry a stone, or you align yourself with planetary energies and so on. That then, when you've got that perfect storm, if you will, that you can create magic and that something fantastic happens. We don't recognize the true magic, which is something that can be as innocent as a flower opening up, or to seeing the results of the steps that we took in order to bring something about. For me, it's like ritual. We get up in the morning, and there's steps we've got to take to get ourselves through the day, to get ourselves out the door. if we want to achieve something, then there's things we've got to complete, and certain uh, steps we've got to take in order to get there. And then once we get there, if we did everything right, then we get the result. But sometimes that result might not be the way we planned. For me, magic is like that. We program ourselves to believe that if we do certain things a certain way, then certain results can be counted on. And it's not always the way. And I remember something years ago that a witch had told me that there's what you want, and then there's what the universe wants for you. And I always bucked against that because I thought, yeah, well, the universe might think it knows better than me, but I know me. And as the years have gone by, and especially this year, I've learned that sometimes you've just got to let go and let things happen, and instead of butting your head against a brick wall, trying to force a square peg into a round hole and so forth. Sometimes that's the magic, when you just allow yourself to flow through life and not push against things that are going to happen anyway, or expect that things are going to turn out a certain way when it's been proven in your past that it doesn't really work that way. Um, but it's setting the intention. It's about to attract the energies, you have to emulate them. And what I've really always enjoyed about witchcraft and the pagan way, excuse this light, it's a little bit much, um, although it is dark in here, but I wanted to be here to be cocooned in my private space. But anyway, um, sometimes, and I forget what I was saying. See, I've got to stop doing that. I digress a lot. Um, But in order to bring something about, we have these expectations that life's going to go a certain way, and that if we do certain things a certain way, it's going to happen. For me, I've noticed that the energies that I wish to emulate um, shouldn't be like trying to force something, and letting go and smiling and living as though the thing is already happening. One thing, especially when it comes to intentions, that I've learned is that you've got to know what you want. And that's been my hiccup, if you will. Uh, Still struggling to find out who I am. And then I came to the realization recently that um, I'm trying to classify myself in a certain way. And sometimes being is just enough, but I'm putting labels on it, and putting the labels on who I was projecting myself to be or wanting to be was actually negating the magic, because um, I wasn't allowing things to just happen naturally, for me to happen naturally, and just to be in order to bring it about. I know I'm waffling, and I often do because I'm older. Again, today I'm a year older. But magic isn't fairy dust. It's not waving a wand, even though that intention, and I'm going to talk about that too, the ritual. Um, Magic isn't, like all of a sudden Shazam and something appears in front of you. When we expect it, then we get disappointed when it doesn't happen. Or we do a spell and it doesn't happen. Not understanding that, especially if we're doing spells to manipulate other people, I want him to love me, or I want this job, or whatever. Sometimes what you want doesn't want you, and it wasn't the right time, or you weren't in the right headspace. And that's magic in itself, when you make that recognition that, oh, okay, I've been trying to force that square peg into a round hole. I've always been one of those types of people that thinks, well, that's okay. You can just shave the corners off and then you'll be able to fit it in. I can be a bit pig-headed sometimes, but lately I've just learned to just drop my shoulders, stop the expectations, go with the flow, but think about and live like the way I want to be, where I want to be, and that brought me back full circle. Well, I don't know who I want to be. I know who I am. I'm a writer. I'm Kelly. I'm many, many things, but I get lost in the fray when I start thinking like that. Who I want to be and where I want to be. What I really would love to do would be this content creation and writing, just being creative finally after decades of going through the motions just to pay the bills, just to keep the status quo, keep things kicking along. And that's fine to do that because, someone's going to have to pay the bills. But um, been really envious of people who can just chuck it all in and just do what they love. I mean, wouldn't we all love to do that? I could do that, but then I've got to think about, well, who's paying the bills? I can't rely on my husband to be the only one to be providing. That's not fair on him. I wouldn't want someone to expect that from me. And even though he recently told me if he hits a certain level with his income, I can leave my job. I realise no matter how much he's earning, I still want my own money. I know it's odd, and I'm going on and on about this, but with magic, we need to, yes, live a magical life, even if you want to strap on some fairy wings and tell everybody you're a fairy. Um, Whatever works for you, but for me, I've had to learn to get my head out of my butt and stop overthinking, overanalyzing. I have ADHD. I look too deeply into things, research so much to the point where I lose interest, and being so ultra serious about things, but at the same token, doing this channel and the videos I'm putting out there for you, the animal totems and the gemstones and the this and the that, especially the herbal stuff, because that's really what it was all about when I started. I love doing all those things. It seems like it's playful. And I know there's some witches out there who probably see the content I put out there and think, oh, that this is very basic level. But I wanted to share all the information I have, and this is just the beginning. All these things you might think are playful, like with the animals and so on. But it's putting together, this channel's almost like an online grimoire where I'm sharing the good and the bad and the ugly. I'm going to be doing some more dark stuff because um not because I want to fester in the depths, but because I want to heal this trauma. I want to continue helping healing others. And there's magic in that. Um I want to run the full gamut of the craft, but that's not who the only thing I am, and that's why I have the other channel, because I'm looking into other spiritual modalities and things, and there's other stuff coming too. But with magic, sometimes, like with ritual, like I said before, you get up in the morning, you have to do certain things, take certain steps to make your way through the day. Um, Ritual speaks to your subconscious. When you do something, sometimes you do it so many times it becomes automatic, it's natural. But programming yourself to think a certain way and to act a certain way, but by the same token, not making it so robotic that it's not you. That's been where I've been stuck lately, wondering, talking about consciousness. Where is it? What is it? Um, and trying to figure out the who I am, what I need to be doing while navigating this world as it's going at the moment with all the crazy crap going on. It's been difficult, but one strange lesson I've learned, especially when it comes to magic, is just like I said before, letting go. I've been trying to force everything to turn out a certain way. I've learned to lift above the dreck of everyday life, dragging my knuckles through the day, but also not begrudging it and being grateful. Gratitude has been a magical thing for me. Um, I've always been a negative person. Yeah, that's great, but what about this? Or, um, when you get all bitchy about people and the shit they do to you, and it's really easy to get bogged down in the ugliness of the day, but the magic that you can create is simply by looking through a different lens. I've found with especially dealing with other people, because other people, which is really interesting too, can provide a lot of headaches for you. But sidestepping that stream of all the crap that we all buy into, if I act like this, she'll act like that, or if I do this, I've got to say that. I've been sidestepping that or rising above to see everything as it really is and not what other people are projecting or what I'm projecting. And it's really helped me understand my place in the world and how I can navigate it and create my life without trying to be so forceful and without trying to follow a certain map just because other people do it or say this is the way to do it, 3 easy steps to do such and so forth. The magic has been letting go and watching the world reflect back to me who I am, what I'm doing, where I could be going, which has opened up doorways to opportunities that I might not have seen. Um, I'm the kind of person, it's black and white, put it in front of me or it doesn't exist, and so on. Um, but I've learned just recently that that was stultifying my spiritual growth and the magic. Worrying this video's sort of stultified too as I say this, but um, trying to force that, trying to force the magic, if you will, has negated the magic. Sitting back and watching and observing, allowing things to happen, analyzing without buying into it or locking horns with it and other people, being more free and easy, stepping back and analyzing, but not over analyzing and going into analysis paralysis. But the magic for me recently has been, rather than casting circle using gemstones and herbs and stuff, which I love doing. I love ritual because that programs you to start a path towards what it is that you'll want, what your intentions are. But for me, the magic of understanding that intentions um, don't just come to you. You have to really just allow everything to form and then decide, okay, what am I going to do with this, rather than trying to make all these different things happening without truly understanding how things happen, how things work. That I can't just do wishful thinking and then sit back and expect it's going to be handed to me on a silver platter, but by the same token, um, going in and doing these grandiose rituals where thee, thou, and like Gardnerian magic and so on, um, can be so stultified that you lose sight of what it is that you want. And sometimes you just go, oh, you got to open up and just be. And I've got to meditate more. I think that's something all of us could do. Um, write more, which I love doing, and I've got to keep doing that. The dreams, especially, I want to share a dream, which I will do on this channel. I'm just looking at my fat neck. I used to be so negative towards myself, and nowadays, especially since the retreat this year, I've learned not to do that. And that's been magic. When I think about magic, that's something that really floors me that I've been able to do this year, because the end of last year, 2024, I was a mess. I was a bundle of stress, a ball of anxiety, and was crashing really bad. And it's so interesting how much I've gone through this year with the trauma processing and everything. That's been magic in itself. Other people have been telling me just recently that they're proud of me and that they're so shocked I'm so different now to what I was this time last year, for example. in the way that I'm dealing with other people, the way I'm communicating, how I react to things is it's magic, you could say, and I made that magic, but I'm a work in progress. It's continuing, but just those steps that I took that at the time I didn't think were going to do anything. Like when I was at the retreat, I did the labyrinth, and as I walked into the center, I was thinking about all the things that made me mad about my life, myself. But then on the way out, I started telling myself, this is how it's going to be, this is how it's going to go, no more negative self talk. And I was doing this clicking, and I did a video on hand magic. But I realized when I made that statement on the way out of the labyrinth, saying, I'm not going to do that anymore, I was letting that go to the universe. I was speaking it out. So I think that was the magic too, because the the ritual of walking out of the labyrinth, spiraling out, telling myself what I wasn't going to tolerate about myself and other people, was sort of setting it in stone, because since then I've been getting so much better and better. I barely do any negative self talk, and when I do, it's funny. I laugh at it now. Like just before, when I talked about my fat neck, and it could be I've got a stable table on my lap here in the bedroom, and I'm sorry I don't have flashy settings, and this isn't the best quality video, but I just thought it's my birthday. I want to talk about magic. Um, and talk about my path and the way out. And it's getting better and better. The more I let go, the more easy it becomes. The more I just allow things to happen, the more opportunities open up. And I found that really fascinating, because I've been very much an atheist, as I've said throughout the years. I've been a witch for a long time, but I always believed that the deities were embodying the energies that we wish to emulate. So that's how I got myself through it on an atheistic level. But this year's not so much. This year, it's not so much, oh, yes, I know all the deities are up there in the sky. But I think that they're archetypes that help us understand ourselves and the world and other people. And the way the magic has worked for me this year is understanding also that wishful thinking is not going to get you anywhere. But by the same token, no, none of these highly stylized, overly complicated rituals are going to get you there either. Linking in to the universe, or whatever you want to call it, and meditation and that, and just being, listening to the inner self, that quiet side of you that often doesn't get to be heard, and then writing about it and analyzing it like that, rather than trying to slam everything into a pigeonhole and dictate to yourself, this is how it is. Um, that's what I've learned about magic. And I love the rituals. I love the gemstones, the herbs. I love the invocations. I love meditations, guided meditations, vision questing, path working, and all that. But the big realization was just being. And that's such a weird thing to say, because, there are a lot of people out there who would say that's hippie talk, but not projecting my preconceived ideas about how things should be, how they should work out, how I should be. Scaling that all back, and I'm not searching all the time now. Who am I? What am I supposed to do? Blah blah blah. I've learned to take much pleasure in understanding that all will be revealed. I don't have to try to rush the process. As much as I'm older now and I feel like, come on, time is of the essence, the understanding of just being and opening up and listening to that inner voice, or the inspiration from above, wherever it's coming from, has been such a great lesson, especially when it comes to magic, because I don't expect miracles. Um, like I did before, expecting that, why can't I have this? Why can't I do that? I can, but I've just got to be, because once the dust settles, then I'll be able to see myself and my life better. So I just wanted to share this. I'm also going to be doing some tarot readings soon. I'm going to be releasing those and some more videos about dreams, because I've had some phenomenal dreams, some really great dreams, I think, that not only speaks for me, but maybe to you and others out there, because I think we're all in it. We're all a part of the Godhead or whatever. We're all emanations. Those concepts, when I'm thinking about unified theory and quantum mechanics and all those things, are fascinating. And consciousness, that's all magic. But anyway, I'll stop there. I want to share these things and just show how it's funny how piece by piece I feel like this year especially I've really been putting it together. Sounds like I'm a rambling old cow, but it will be coming out in the videos when it becomes more structured. But at the moment I'm just going through it, learning, and I wanted to share that with you, to maybe see magic as something other than what you're projecting. But anyway, I hope you got something out of this. I'm going to share some tarot readings, as I said, and please subscribe if you haven't already. I know this seems like I'm just some old lady ranting, but everyone else is too, so hey. And share with your friends, whatever, and look at the other content I've got. I've got playlists like the Firehorse Grove if you're interested in trauma processing, but then there's also the fun stuff like the animals, the gemstones, and the herbs. And I'm going to be doing a lot more on dreams and, even spell work. Why not? Um, so if you have any comments or, observations that or epiphanies or whatever you'd like to share here, please comment below. And until we meet next time, blessed be and take care of yourself.